Hello and welcome to MINYIP, your fantasy sports community. I'm your host, Blake, coach of Youngy's Yaks, and joined by Clinton.
I'm coach of Dash's Dogs. It's good to be on.
Having a few technical difficulties there, Dash's Dogs.
Yeah, it's just something that's so random, Blake. I'm ready to go. We're at the start, and then this volume doesn't work. Oh, so I can't hear you. I have to restart the computer, then I forget the password. So it's the second time that's happened in about 2 months. So I've written down the passwords. We're good to go.
We're good to go. We haven't prepared like usual, so you're in for a few surprises in tonight's show, Clinton. So look forward to seeing that. Thank you to anyone who subscribed or liked the channel over the last week. Make sure you check out Apple and Spotify podcasts as well if you like to listen to us on your drive into work rather than going through YouTube.
Train
to work, yeah. However you like to do your daily commute. This morning I posted a Twitter question like I do each Wednesday morning now, Clinton. It's a new thing I've been doing. And the quiz question was, in 2014 on this date, North Melbourne played against the Demons. And who scored the most Supercoach points for their respective sides? Did you care to take a guess at that, Clinton?
My guess would be Zeeble and Melbourne. Nathan Jones.
No bad guess was Zeeble. He scored 122 points, and Jones scored 96. But the most for Melbourne, which a lot of people shockingly got, there wasn't many other guesses. So I don't know if there's a bit of cheating going on, Clinton. Bernie Vince scored 162 points that day. People just miraculously remember that Bernie Vince was on fire 8 years ago. And the other one was, my favorite comment was, I have no idea, but I'll guess Bernie Vince and Levi Greenwood. Levi Greenwood scored 134, just beating Boomer Harvey by 3 points. So thank you to anyone who joined in that, even though there's some suspicious answers in that one.
That is a good one, Blake, because it is 8 years ago, but there is some people who obviously watch football very, very closely and remember those things. So well done.
Yep, well done. 8 years ago on this date. You remember the Supercoach points of Levi Greenwood. Yep. Let's get into a round review of round 14, Clinton.
What was that?
There's a few change-ups for whoever's watching the show. There's the round review. That is the new segment break, whatever. I don't know what you call it. The new intro. Yep. So round 14, I scored 1,827 in Supercoach, which improved my rankings by exactly 50 to make me 4,027. My trades had to get rid of Max Gawn, got rid of Buku Karmas, and got rid of Petrarca, which my ins were Jeremy Cameron, who scored 94, Laird 114, and Ambrosio for his first game for Essendon, who scored 51. I had the VC on Walsh, who scored 109 points, which wasn't good enough. And then I captained Tuke Miller, who only scored 100. So I should have taken Walsh's 109. But in hindsight, overall, pretty happy with my results over the bye rounds. Improved my ranking about 4,000 spots overall across the 3 rounds. So pretty happy with that. And yeah, keep pushing towards the end of the season and keep climbing those ranks. How did you go for round 14, Clint?
I had a good round. I scored 1964, which now takes me to a rank of 819. So we were talking to each other throughout the weekend, wondering if I'd get into the top 1,000, and I did do that. So yeah, 819. I also traded out Max Gawn. I brought in Callum Mills, who I put the VC on, and was very happy with his 138. So I took that. I was really deliberating with my other trade. I was tempted not to because I was having, I think, 19 or 20 play, but or at that point in time, I already had a couple low scores. So I took a bit of a risky move, and I took out Will Brodie, which obviously a vast majority of owners are keeping, but I decided to trade him, and I brought in Jared Witts, and on face value, that was a bit disappointing. Wittsy only scored 68, but I am very happy to be owning him for the rest of the year, and particularly this week. So as I said, I VC'd Callum Mills, and across the board, scored pretty well, and looking forward to full primo team this week.
How many trades you got left there, Clint?
I have 5 left, and I do have a couple of issues. I am a Tim English owner. I am a Zach Butters owner. Definitely some decisions this week, but I do have a plan in place, but teams could be interesting as well tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. There's already been we are recording on Wednesday, with the Thursday night teams have already been released, which I'll talk through in a moment. First, let's get into the Guess Who for this week. There's a bit going on there in the intro videos tonight. A bit of warning too. I think there's some of them are a bit loud, so you'll discover that for yourself which ones are a bit loud. But just a warning in advance.
Yeah.
Last week, the Guess Who was on Jeremy Cameron, who I bought into my side. He scored 94. Was expecting a few more points against West Coast, but unfortunately, he still has North Melbourne to play in 2 weeks. But would have liked a few more points from Jeremy Cameron last week. This week for Guess Who, Clinton.
I'm ready.
This player has scored above 150 this season already against West Coast Eagles.
Stop.
In his last...
Taylor Walker.
I'll read the rest of it. You are correct.
Yes. That's the name of the game, isn't it? I'm guessing who it is.
Yep, that's how it's played. So in the rest, so he's in his last 9 games of this year, Clinton. He plays against West Coast again, and he also plays against North Melbourne twice. He's only currently sitting in 1% of teams, and he's the 10th highest averaging forward for this season. Any consideration to Taylor Walker?
It is quite funny that you've brought his name up, because I'm looking at keeping Tim English. I'm looking at trading Zach Butters, and I was going through a long list of forwards, and I was actually messaging Azza, one of our patrons, talking about different names. And this morning I just sent him a GIF of Taylor Walker, because I sort of, in my own head, I'd settled that it's very likely that I'm going to bring him in. A lot of people are bringing in Luke Jackson, Isaac Heaney, those types of players. But I've actually, at this point in time, I think I'm bringing Taylor Walker into my team. So there you go.
We haven't talked about Supercoach prior to the show, Clinton. That this is getting quite freakish.
His average is 99. His average is 99. And
is most likely coming into my team, by the way, as well.
Just adding to what there's 2 different things on it. There's 9 games left. There's only looking at those 2. There's only 2 games which you think he'd have difficult games, and that's Melbourne in 2 weeks' time, and then there's Sydney in Sydney. But besides that, you'd think he's a good chance to score well. The 2 other potentially things to consider is is, I think, eyeing off a potential move to a different club. I don't know this for sure, but like how he's trying to play well to get a contract elsewhere. And then the other thing is that Adelaide, they may be changing things up, and who knows what that'll mean for him. So if they think he's moving on next year, what does that mean for him? But he's someone I'm very, very interested in. So it's quite coincidental that you put that name up.
We're on the same wavelength there, Clinton. Let's get into our bold predict. This might be one of the ones that's a bit loud. Bold predictions. How's your eardrums, all right?
Don't worry about me. Worry about our viewers and listeners.
Yeah, sorry about that, community. Lucky it only went for 4 seconds. Last week, my bold predictions was Walsh to come out and redeem himself and score 140 plus, which obviously failed. And my other one was on Himmelberg to score below 90. He scored 95, which, if you were an owner, you'd be still pretty happy with the 95.
Yeah, I think so. And his money gained. And one of my bold predictions was him to score 140 plus. So that didn't quite come through. Just another thing that we planned well. And then my other one was Jack McRae to score 140 plus. So I predicted that one correctly. A lot of people actually put the VC on him. I was very tempted, but I lent towards Callum Mills, and I was happy with that as well. So
I told you to go above 150. How many points did you end up scoring again? Was it 154 or something?
Yeah, it was above. Yeah, so I got
That's
it.
all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. You're getting close there. This week, my first bold prediction. There might be a common theme here in tonight's show. My first prediction is Taylor Walker to score above 140 this week.
Well, I like it. My first bold prediction is that Jared Witts and Sean Darcy are now, if you're looking at the top two rucks, they're it. I do own them already, and I'm predicting they will score at least 280 points combined this weekend.
That all?
Is that all? That's 140 each.
Okay. That's very close. Okay. My next bold prediction. There's no Moz this week, Clinton. You'll be very happy to hear.
Hang on. I've got one more first before you put your Moz on.
No, there's no Moz. There's no Moz this week.
But I normally put my second. Okay, go.
All right.
Change the order. Yeah.
My second bold prediction was that Luke Jackson and Darcy Cameron were to score 275 points plus.
Is that all? Okay. No, I like that. I'll change mine to 300 just for you.
Thank you.
Witts and Darcy 300. My other bold prediction was a return to his premium scoring in Tom Stewart to score 130 plus.
Is he playing down in Geelong, is he?
He's playing Richmond. They are playing the MCG, I believe.
Okay. If it was at Geelong, I wouldn't have said it was very bold, but no, good call. Let's get into. You'll be glad to hear there's no intro video. Some whispers for this week. Start off with just the team news for tomorrow night. We've got Toby Bedford in for Demons. Sam Wiedemann and Stephen Balboa May is in as well. Out is Gawn, Chandler, Turner, and Brown. For the Lions, we've got a debutant in Tunstall. We've got Tom Berry coming back into the side, and also Jack Payne. Out is Fort, Gardner, Zach Bailey, and the other one is Zorko. Bailey is out with COVID protocols, whereas the other lines are injuries. Jagoe is out for personal leave. for round 15. Tim English is out for concussion, and there's also doubts on him missing 2 weeks, as per a press conference with Luke Beveridge this afternoon. The Hawthorn debutant, Clinton, help me with the pronunciation there.
James Blank.
Thank you, James Blank. He is playing his first game, 102k defender. Jack Steele is most likely to return as well this week. Butters is the same injury that he did a couple of years ago, where he only missed 1 or 2 weeks. So probably a good result there for Butters, considering how bad it was looking. And Joel Jeffrey, rookie for Gold Coast, is also going to miss a few weeks there. So if you're looking for bench coverage, he's also out for this week. So a few whispers there for you, Clinton.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
It's unlike the intro videos. They were loud. Now you're whispering.
Community questions for this week. Don't mind me. I'm just having one of the most refreshing drinks in Australia, the Kirk's Pasita. Community questions for this week. The main issue is the ruck department, Clinton, with English out. Bruce is out for suspension, not due to his ankle injury, which meant he's low scoring from round 14. And Teakle as well, who people were hoping to use as coverage, is also out. Do you reckon you've got the best ruck combo there, Clinton, in Darcy and Witts?
I think definitely in the short term that is the ideal setup. Witsy's played all year and scored well until last weekend, and Darcy has been a bit hit or miss, but I think hopefully a week off has done him well. All will depend if he's solo, but I think they're the two that you'd want at the moment. And then, obviously a lot of people have English, Teakle, and Bruce. If you've owned him all year, be pulling your hair out at this point in time. But all depends. Everyone, as usual, depends on your trades, what you're trying to get. But Bruce surely is at that point where you want to move him on. Just a bit of advice, for example, with me, and this depends on your forward bench as well. But for example, I'm leaving Tim English on my ruck bench. I'm not going to trade him, even if it is 2 weeks. I'm thinking about keeping him. I'm going to have Teakle in my forwards, and that way I'll be having 2 forward line players that I can sort of loop with Teakle, because English is playing Friday night, which will lock him out. So between that whole English and Teakle swing, that allows you to sort of Teakle plays, or Port Adelaide play the last game of the round. So that's just something to be mindful of, that if you keep it English, just be aware that he gets locked out. I'm going to be fortunate to have 2 forward line rookies that I can sort of loop on. So in short, Witts and Darcy is what you want. It's tricky. If you end up with English, Bruce, Teakle in your ruck department, you're in a bit of strife for this week. But that's why so many are looking towards Luke Jackson. Todd Goldstein's been mentioned, but Jackson's an interesting one. I'm tempted, but I think I don't need him in the rucks as such. So I'm leaning towards a forward instead.
If you had plenty of trades up your sleeve, would you be looking to move on English, considering the issues he's had previously with concussion? I think last time when he had a concussion against GWS last year, he missed like 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was more of a severe one. But who knows what he's been like the last week. But if I did have lots of trades, yes, I would be very tempted. But for the most part, a lot of people have 5, 6, 7 trades left. So, if you have 7 or above, I would be very tempted to move him on. But no, I'm not in that situation.
And everyone will be holding Teakle as a looping option from now on as well?
There's no point trading him, no. So, yeah, you'd rather trade out English in that situation or Bruce, whoever else. But Tickle, a lot of people brought in. He's injured. You just keep him now. Yeah.
The other one is Zach Butters. Would you be looking to trade him or hold him if you, let's say you had 6 trades left? Would you be looking to trade him regardless of his injury?
I think so. There's every chance if he just misses 1 or 2, when he comes back, he won't be at his best. Like the unfortunate thing is, he played so well on the weekend for the first quarter, then the injury happened. So I think, yeah, I'd definitely trade, and I think now's the right time to try and find that right player. And depends if you can swing it for Ruckman or a midfielder. So it opens up a lot of opportunities, and for me, he's very likely to go. But believe it or not, like as I said earlier, like I've got Judson Clark on my forward bench. I'm going to have the emergency on him. If he somehow pulls out a really big score, there's a chance I may, if Roses comes back in for Gold Coast, I may just back him in. And yeah, so there's a small chance I might keep Butters because I could just see what happens next week. But if Clark stays in the team and doesn't score well, I'll be trading out Butters for sure.
Yeah, in most teams, he's probably one of the last upgrade options anyway. So you'd probably be looking to move him on. Based on his scoring of 95 from last week, is Himmelberg still a viable option? And also, McVeigh, the GWS coach today, said that they could use him in any position, any week going forward.
I think those who got him 2 weeks ago, it's been a genius move. If you brought him in last week, I think it still worked out okay. I wouldn't bring him in this week, is my answer. There's a lot of doubt. Potentially, Phil Davis is coming back in. He's very good in the back line, but there's every chance he gets moved back forward. There's every chance he plays some ruck time. So I wouldn't bring him in this week, no. I think there's other players that are, for the rest of the season, safer picks as of this week.
How many trades do you recommend having from now on, Clinton? If you're in the same boat as me, if you had 4 trades left and you had the issues of Butters, Bruce, English, would you be burning through your trades to keep trying to field a team each week, or would you be holding on to them with the likes of Butters potentially only missing 1 week?
I think ideally, it depends what you're playing for. And if you're trying to win some leagues or you're trying to still get the highest position possible, yeah, it'd be very risky to go below 4 at this point, just trying to trade out players who are potentially out for 1 week. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't want to be going down to 1 or 2 trades in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So, yeah, if that means playing this week with 1 donut, I think I'd rather do that than burn a couple of trades now because give it another week. See, English could come back. Butters could be back in just 1. Yeah, who knows? So I wouldn't go down to 3 or below at this stage. I'd say Yeah, as I said, it depends what you're playing for.
Yeah, the best. It shouldn't be really too many. You should be trying to get as many premiums in as you can. But best rookie options for this week, Clinton.
Well, yeah, I don't know really.
Did you even look at it, considering you should be trying to get in premiums?
Well, yeah, I've mentioned Judson Clark already. Like, I don't think you'd bring him in this week because he's a chance he doesn't even play this week, but hopefully he does for my team's sake. But yeah, there's a couple of defensive rookies that are there if people need to downgrade, and D'Ambrosio looks really good, but I think he's in jeopardy of not keeping his spot. You're the Essendon man, and Patrick Parnell was very impressive. He got hurt midway through the game, and I honestly think that he's a quality player. So in normal circumstances, circumstances, I'll be wanting to bring him in. But at this stage of the year, I don't think I need to. So I don't want to burn on a trade. For example, I've got Buku and Ware in the back line. I don't think I'd rather just keep Buku in case he comes back in. And I don't want to burn a trade at the moment like that.
Have you got any This is just thoughts come to my head. Did you see the overall round rankings from last round, Clinton, where people have blatantly just started a team to try and win the overall weekly prize?
What about it? I mean, it's understandable. I mean, every week there's a winner for the highest score, and if you win that, you win $2,000, I believe, if you're a subscriber. So if you think about the amount of time and effort you put into it, if you can try and over that 3-week period plan your team to win $2,000, I think it's not the worst result, winning $2,000 for participating Supercoach. However, the vast majority, like us, we're trying to win the whole thing, so that's why we play.
I'm morally against it.
Yep. Okay. Well done to you.
And I encourage the rest of our community to play for overall rankings and not just win round prizes after that feedback. Most teams should be pretty well set now, Clinton, with their premium selections. Would you be looking on to move the likes of Petrarca or those players who are sort of just below at the lower tier? So your top tier, you've got Lockie Neal, Oliver, Mills, McRae, sort of that middle tier players who are averaging around the 105s, 110s. Would you be looking to move them on? The likes of Tom Green, if you still have him, even Josh Kelly's averaging 109, Jaden Short 104. Would you be looking to move those players on as the last priority?
Depends on your trades, Blake. Obviously, and I know you said you moved Petrarca on last week. For me, that was a bit of a silly decision, but I think if they're obviously luxury trades. If we're talking about burning trades and running out of trades in a few weeks' time, well, I think those are the decisions that will come back and bite you. Those type of decisions. So I know right now, yes, I would prefer Jordan Dawson in the back line compared to Jaden Short, but I brought in Short about 6 weeks ago. That's what I've chosen, and that's what happens. I'll only do that if there's an injury. So I'm better. Yeah, each week, if it's a matter of 5 to 10 points, that won't make up for a donut or something in about a month's time. So I wouldn't be trading those types of players unless you've had still somehow got lots of trades and you're eager to get a top premium in.
So you're pretty much just trading out injured players, saving those trades to trade out injured players from now on. Or,
I think,
or leaving it to very late with one or two.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to get the best players you can, and I mean, I wouldn't be stuffing around too much with those small gains of, like, for example, Petrarca. I'm expecting a massive turnaround in form for him. So those who've decided to trade him out because he's had a couple lower scores, he's gone down in price, and looking at his price, he doesn't come across as a premium, but a couple of big scores, and everyone will be jumping back on him. So I think backline midfield, you should be at this point pretty much set. Right now, the dilemmas are the rucks and the forward line. So I wouldn't be fiddling around too much with those little side swaps.
Yeah, it got me by moving Petrarca to lead last week. It got me 74 points, but it could mean I have a donut for the last 2 rounds, or the last few rounds. So I'm just hoping my team is durable. That's all the questions we had from the community. Clinton, was there anything further you want to add before we get into our trade plans?
No, it's all good, Blake.
All right, very good. They're getting better and better each week,
Yeah.
Clinton.
They
Yeah.
are.
My trade plans for this week, I am in a lot of trouble in my forward line. So I've moved Darcy Cameron into my rucks to cover that. So I've got Whitson Cameron. My forward line out, I've got Tim English, Joel Jeffrey, Zach Butters, and I've got Paul Curtis on the bench who I'm hoping will play. So there's 3, potentially 4 people not playing in my forward line this week. I have 4 trades left for the remainder of the season. My current trade plan is to move Zach Butters to Tex Walker. Hope Paul Curtis plays so I can at least field a full team.
Good luck. So you had Tinkle as well, did you?
Tinkle is my R3, yes.
Yeah.
But I will. There's not too much point moving Tinkle to my forward line as a looping option because there's nothing to loop on my bench. I'm in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, sounds like you are. It's one of those unfortunate ones. Yeah, Butters, untimely injury. English as well, obviously. Yeah, so there's a lot of people like you, Blake. So I wish you well. And yeah, it's one of those ones where, as I've said, maybe if you did a recap of the season, looking at a few of your earlier trades, you think maybe you should have 6 or 7 left right now. That's what it'd be. Yes, but is what it is. Good luck.
Sitting here, Clinton, I've just found a solution.
Okay, hit me.
I just realised Zach Butters is a mid forward, and I can swap him with Ben Hobbs. So
you should have known that, Blake. That's poor research. giving me false information.
So now but the question is, do I still trade him? Considering he could be out for more than that, and Tex Walker will give me more points. But
your biggest issue is your trades.
That is my biggest issue. I've got 4 of them. I'm just praying that Curtis plays for North Melbourne this week. My vice captain is Clayton Oliver, and my captaincy will be Rory Laird against North Melbourne.
Good luck with whatever you do, Blake. Just make sure you do more research on that next time. I'm similar to you, not in terms of carnage in your forward line, but I'm considering trading at Butters. As I said earlier, there's a possibility, and it's relying on Judson Clark to stay in the team and score well, but there's a chance I don't trade. But if I do, I'll be trading at Butters. I've looked at a handful of options. I'm hearing a lot of different content creators talking about these options in terms of the forwards. I don't think I'm going to go Luke Jackson. I don't think I'm going to go Isaac Heaney. I was contemplating Mitch Duncan. He is a type of player that could return to his best form, and that's a consideration. However, I'm also leaning towards Taylor Walker. So I find it hard to believe that you actually brought that up because I was going to reveal it as my big player that I was going to bring in. I thought you were going to laugh at me. So if that is the case, we really need Tex Walker to score well this week because this is the game in Tassie versus North Melbourne. Yeah, it'll want to pay dividends this week. My VC, all week so far, I was leaning towards Lockie Neal. Melbourne don't normally put a lot of attention into oppo mids because they're so good themselves. However, and with Gorn out and Jackson the Ruck, I thought Big O might be able to tap it down Lockie Neal's throw a bit more. But after tonight's teams and seeing Brisbane have a few outs, I've got a bit more confidence that Melbourne are going to turn it on and play really well. So I'm also going to go VC Oliver, I think. And then as a backup, I might lean towards a Ruckman. And it might be a Witts or Darcy. I think they're both set for big games. Fremantle play Carlton and Gold Coast play Port with no ruck. So that's why I'm leaning. I could go towards McRae. Bulldogs players. But no, I think I might. Hopefully, the VC gets it done tomorrow night.
Yeah, I wanted to lock in my VC early as well and go that Melbourne Brisbane game rather than hoping players don't play for looping options and vice versa. Yeah, very good, Clinton. I also was considering Mitch Duncan as a forward option, so we're very much on the same wavelength there. So I look forward to seeing who you go with, and we'll post that on Twitter prior to. Probably we'll post that once that we've confirmed our trades.
I won't be doing that till probably Sunday to Sunday. So
yeah, and so that's why we didn't release our fantasy trades until Friday last week, because that's when we made them. Very good, Clinton. Let's get into the AFL fantasy segment. Yep, let's get straight into doing a round review. I won't humour you again with the round review intro, Clinton, from the Supercoach segment, but I scored not very well over the bye rounds. I scored 1,739 in round 15, which put my overall ranking to 5,601, which meant over the bye rounds I dipped about 2,500 positions. So it was disastrous bye weeks for me. My trades last week, I got out Gawn, Paul Curtis, and Dacos with the intention of using that cash to trade De Koning this week. But I got in Tuke Miller, Clark for Richmond, and Whitfield. Pretty happy with the returns there. Miller getting the 90, would have liked to be a bit higher, but in the end wasn't as bad as how he was looking halfway through that game. And Whitfield scored pretty well with a 99. My VC was on McRae, who ended up getting 296 points for me as my captain. So very happy with my captaincy. How did you go for round? We're up to now 14. Clinton, how'd you go?
Only slightly better than you. I scored 1797, which saw me rise ranks to not far behind you. I'm ranked 5,819. So I'm still clawing my way back after a very slow start the year. I traded out Max Gawn, Dane Zorko, and Cleary for the Bulldogs. I was just needed to trade out someone to upgrade, and that's the way it panned out. Cleary looks like he could be playing this week for the Bulldogs, so maybe that was a wrong person to trade out. However, it needed to happen. I brought in Teakle, who scored 27. I also brought in Whitfield, and I also brought in Sam Doherty, who I was quite happy with on debut for my team. So I VC'd Sam Walsh. He scored 109. I didn't decide to take that. I put it on Rory Laird, and he scored 124. So I was happy with that. And yeah, slowly improving my ranks, but yeah, bit of dilemmas this week now.
Hits and misses from round 14, Clinton. There wasn't many hits there, but my best one was captaining McRae, who, like I said, got the 296 points, and also Tim English returned a score of 114. So pretty happy with those hits. How was your hits for round 14, Clint?
Yeah, obviously I had those two players as well, but yeah, I'll just mention the players I already just did. Doherty 129, happy on debut, and then Laird 124 as captain. So happy with those two. It was actually a bit of a miserable weekend with a lot of low scores. So it was good to have a few players like that did well, but there was a lot of carnage. I think I had 20 playing, and a lot of low scores still.
I think I had 21 playing Clinton, and in the end, I still was picking up some scores of 40s.
Yeah.
So my misses was where do I begin? Bruce 14, Teakle 27, Zach Butters 44. You can't really blame them too much for injuries, but at the same time, Bruce needs to toughen up.
Okay. Obviously there's a few injuries there. I mean, Teakle got injured, Butters got injured, Sam Durden I had, so he got injured. But for me, the main one, which was disappointing, was I needed a couple more players to step up for those reasons. And although he's a key defender, he's playing West Coast. I just wanted Sam De Koning to score a 60 minimum, but he scored 39. So for me, that was the biggest disappointing score, that the fact that he was playing West Coast and scored 39. But he's always going to be a key defender who should be on our bench. But on those weekends during the buys, we've been handy to score reasonably, but didn't happen.
Yep. Player predictions. It was a terrible first week of our segment when we introduced it. We were hundreds of points off, and with this week, I'm very much looking forward to
totally redeemed ourselves.
I'm very much looking forward to you reading out your results from this. Let's kick off with Whitfield. Clinton, what was your prediction for Whitfield?
So we had 2 players each. You chose Whitfield. You said 130.
Yes.
I said 100, and he scored 99. So very, very happy to be 1 point off.
You're 1 point off. Yep. The next player I introduced was Nick Martin, who I predicted 110.
I predicted 75, and on the dot, 75. Thank you, Nick Martin.
Which is unbelievable. So from 2 players, you're 1 point off predicting. Yep. Who did next player?
I brought to the table Jack McRae.
Yep.
You predicted 125. I said 147, and he scored 148. I was 1 point off.
You've got some kind of cheat code for these player predictions. The next one you introduced was Tim English, who I said would score 110.
Well, you were 4 off. He scored 114, but I said 124, so I was 10 off. So combination of 12 points off those 4 players. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, for our viewers this week, if we're not promoting gambling or anything on the show, but if there's some kind of markets for Dash's players' predictions, get on. Player for this week, Clinton. First one I'm going to say is Luke Jackson for tomorrow night's game against Brisbane. I think he's going to come out and score 120.
Wow. I think I'm bringing him into my team for his price and the need for a ruckman. But I don't think he'll score that well. But I'm going to say I'll go 85.
Okay. My next player with a similar theme against GWS, Darcy Cameron.
Oh, no. We should have planned this.
Yeah. It looks like we've got 3 players for this segment.
We got 3 players.
My prediction was 120 again.
Yes, I did have this already written down, and I'm expecting a big score. I predicted his highest score of the year, so I'll go +1 from his highest at 134 for Darcy Cameron is my prediction. That's a big score.
Yeah, we should have talked about that one earlier. That's all right. Your player that you want to introduce?
Callum Mills. He's been a great pick for me in fantasy. I've already got mine written down, so you can have a first number.
Just quickly looking at his previous scores, I'm going to go 125.
I had 132 written down. 132 for talent.
For fantasy, he's one of the ones that I've missed. I got on the likes of Tuke Miller, Zach Merritt, Tom Mitchell, and Mills was the one that I've really been missing throughout the whole.
Do one more. Let's do one more.
You got another one?
I'll introduce a name. So let's go with let's go Clayton Oliver tomorrow night. What will he score?
Another player who hasn't been in my AFL fantasy team all season. Oh God, I'll go 138.
Wow. You'd think Brisbane would put a bit of attention in. As I said, I think Big O might go okay in the ruck. I'll just go 108. 108 for Clayton. There you go.
All right.
Not enough for a VC score.
Very good. That concludes the player predictions for this week. Let's get into community questions. It's the time of the show where I just need to have a drink.
I've got a thing about people gulping in microphones.
Community questions. Everyone's biggest issue this week will be the ruck department, Clinton. For AFL Fantasy, is it different to Supercoach? And who do you think is the best combo for AFL Fantasy for at least the near future?
I hope you can answer that question for me, Blake, because it is a very tricky one. Who would have thought that Darcy Cameron would be the player that you would want right now in the ruck? So at the moment in my team, I was all set for Darcy Cameron and Tim English to lead the rucks for the short term. It's a great question. I think for his price and with the fact that he's likely to get a few weeks at it, I think I'm not predicting a massive score, but I think Jackson's worth bringing in this week personally. I think I'm going to trade out Tim English. I think it's risky in fantasy letting it be. Could be 2 at a minimum. Who knows? Like, we don't know yet. So I think it's wise to not sit on your hands on this one. And so I'm going to trade out Tim English in fantasy. Instead of picking someone else who's a bit iffy, and I'm back, hopefully just have Jackson score reasonably well the next, whatever it is, 2-3 weeks without Gawn, and then hopefully I'm in position to then trade him up to whether it be Max, whether it be who else in a month, and work out who's the best ruckman at that point in time. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm
guessing you have Darcy Cameron, don't you?
Yes, Darcy Cameron's my R1. So, I'm... as I said, I was ready to... Go ahead.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, Clinton. Do you know who my ruck department was for last round? Tim English, Braden Bruce, and Teakle with no other ruckman.
Yeah. Tricky.
So if you're... I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same boat who have got to get any coverage, they've got to bring in 2 ruckmen this week. And so, how you approach that, whether you swing, use that utility position to try and hold on to English. But I think for AFL Fantasy, different to Supercoach where there's limited trades, I think if if you're in a similar position to me, you got to trade him this week.
Yeah, as always, depends on the rest of your team. If you've got any other issues, I'm not sure if you've got Zach Butters in your team also. Yeah, so it's really tricky. All you can do is juggle it the best you can, and that's where I'm sure there's people out there who might have someone like a Sam Hayes, or I'm not sure if he's coming in or not, but yeah, there may be a lot of people like you, Blaze. It is tricky, and that's why I think Jackson's a good, cheaper option. But if there's no one really standing out as like, we need to get this ruckman now, because it's hard to predict in fantasy. They need to rack up the marks, and yeah, so it's very tricky.
Okay, Clinton, I've got one for you. Which two players would you trade out of these? Tim English, Braden Pruce,
These always
or Zach Butters?
Solve your team's issues.
I'm sure there will be a lot of people with that same issue as me.
I think in the short term, it's probably what I think. Yeah, it's really tricky. I mean, Bruce, there's every chance he might just miss the one. The other two both have doubts. So depending on who's on your bench, so I think your rucks is the main issue. I'm assuming you have someone on your forward bench who could come on. So I don't know, Blake. You can sort out your own team. Stop passing on your issues to me.
I'm trying to help out the community here, Clinton. I don't know.
It sounds like I'm just solving your issues.
I'm sure a lot of people got the same issue.
Well,
I think there's potential that Zach Butters that plays before Tim English.
Definitely. Don't know. Good luck, Blake.
Don't know why you're targeting me. There will be a lot of the community who will be asking the same question. It's pretty much every question I ask for AFL Fantasy is going to be based on how your team's based on if you've got a full premium team by now or not. Mine, I've just got to keep fixing issues each week. Ideally, I'd be looking to fix up the likes of Nick Martin or Dacos or Sam DeConing, who are sitting in everyone's team. But I think trades will just be dependent on which injuries you got to fix up this week.
Absolutely. I know there's some players in my team that need to go to get me to a more premium team, and I'm eyeing off the loss of Tom Stewart, who's still decreasing in value. I don't have Jack Sinclair, so there's a couple that I'm trying to fit in my back line. But yeah, the forward line, as I said earlier, the forward line and the rucks is where all the issues are. So it's an interesting one. Everyone's teams are different, but yeah, there's a lot of dilemmas this week. So if you can field a strong 16, 17, and then fingers crossed for that last spot, I think you're going pretty well. But yeah, someone like you is in a tricky spot with that ruck situation.
Is there other fallen premiums or players that you haven't got in your team that you've got your eye on if you didn't, if you weren't fixing up issues? What players do you think you've missed out on this year that you'd really like to get into your team?
As I said, those two in the back line. But I upgraded the midfield pretty quickly. So I've got 8 strong premiums in the midfield. I was pretty much all set for the rucks, then all of a sudden Gorn's out, English is out. So yeah, massive span in the works for everyone who had those players. And yeah, so for me, there's still I'm looking at the forward line now, and I'm not sure how it's all going to be looking in a couple of weeks. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 strong options, but I don't know how that last spot is going to work, because ideally that was going to be the likes of Cameron and English in the forward line, but everything's been thrown out the window a bit recently. So I'm trying my best to fit it all in. Like Will Brody was a player that I was trying to get rid of, and now he's still absolutely is a keeper in my forward line. So, yeah, I'm not too fussed about the certain players. I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting the full best 18 I can at the moment.
It was 4 weeks ago that led to my demise of AFL Fantasy Clinton, where I came up with the genius idea that I'd carry 3 ruckmen throughout the bye rounds, and there was also Hugh Dixon on my bench as well. So at that stage, I brought into the team Jared Witts. So I had Gawn, Bruce, Witts, and Hugh Dixon all on my team, with the intention that I'd always have 2 premium ruckmen playing throughout the buys. Come the second week of the buys, I trade out Jared Witts because he wasn't playing that week. I traded out Witts for I traded him out for a player who ended up getting injured as well. It hasn't been very easy to watch my team slowly dismantle itself over the last 8 weeks, Clinton. But I hope our community's catching up to me and enjoying how I've crumbled while you've flourished.
I haven't flourished. I'm going okay, but it's just it's one of those. Yeah, I've had a slow start to the year. Everyone's having issues now, so it's going to be quite tricky how people navigate their way through it. But all you can do is trade out wisely. Perhaps Tim English. I've said I'm trading him out. Maybe it could be still one, but it is very risky. If you hold him, then you'll be tempted to hold him again, and then before you know it, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So,
yep. Let's get into our trade plans for this week, Clinton. Yep. As we've just said, I need to fix up my ruck department. So the players. So, yep, I need to bring in 2 ruckmen. So I'm trading out Tim English to Luke Jackson. And this gives me enough cash with some looping options to trade out Roberts from Sydney to Darcy Cameron.
Wow, you're bringing Cameron now.
I've got to bring in 2 ruckmen, yes.
Obviously he's gone up massively in price, but I think it's a smart option. But he scores well. He's going to score well this week, so I understand that move. So good luck.
I prefer to trade out Roberts, who is very unlikely to play a game for the rest of the year, and hold on to Butters and see if he plays the week after. Yep, my VC, I don't have the luxury of the Clayton Oliver that you do, so I'm potentially going to chuck it on Christian Petrarca for next week. I mean, for tomorrow night, followed by a captaincy of Jackson McRae.
Interesting. It's interesting that Roberts you're getting rid of, because sometimes in this time of year, having 1 or 2 or 3 players who aren't going to play isn't an issue. So, I'm wondering if there's someone else you could trade out to give yourself some more money for next week. But that's up to you. My trades, I'm also at this point in time trading out English. I'm going to bring in Jackson. I'm pretty sure that gives me enough money to upgrade Sam de Koning. I've been trying to get rid of him for some time, but all the way up to Jack Sinclair. That's the plan at this point in time.
Captaincies?
VC, similar to what I said before, I was going to go Neil. I think I need to reconsider that, because I'm not sure. Yeah, at this point in time, I'm still locking Neil. There's every chance I might do it in both formats, but locking Neil I had locked in there. And C, Rory Laird was a good backup option for me.
Yep, just another player who I've missed out on in my fantasy team and why your team's in a much stronger position at the moment than mine. So you've got Laird, Mills, and Clayton Oliver. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got a very strong midfield. Like Josh Kelly, I brought in a couple of weeks ago. So I'm full premium in the midfield. And yeah, I'd say that a couple of the Josh Kelly, Sam Walsh, like they're the types of players I need to really go well for me in the next little while that not everyone has.
Yeah, that's all I've got for you for the round 15 show. Clinton, did you have anything further to add before you wrap up there?
No, I'm all done, Blake. Good luck this weekend. Yeah, it's good to have all the games back. We were meant to have full premiums, but it hasn't quite panned out that way. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep. Good luck to everyone in our community for round 15, and good luck to you, Clinton.
Yeah, mate.